ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we will be reviewing Scream 6, Scream VI, Scream Vi, Scream
Scrix.
Vi, Scrix. Joining us today, as usual, it's, what did I write for you? I scrolled past the names. It's Not Enough Locks, Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? It's not enough locks, Nathaniel. There is not enough locks on my house. It's a big problem, but
It is a big problem.
I
They're gonna let a lot of
refuse.
people in.
I refuse to fix it.
You have two
People are gonna
doors.
break into the HQ.
Well, I just don't use regular locks. I just shove
Okay.
chairs underneath it, like I'm
That seems productive.
I'm a man that's just been chased into the room by a villain. I just grab whatever chair I can find and just shove it underneath the doorknob.
Do you occasionally find yourself throwing the chair like a baseball, like he does in The Mummy?
In The Mummy, where he just tomahawks it across the room.
He just heaves the chair across the room.
No, I don't typically do that way, but I keep a backup chair next to me just in case my first locking chair fails.
Gotcha, of course. And then do you put another chair in like your bedroom door?
No, that one
Just
I
for,
just
like,
rely
extra-
on, much like in Scream, I just rely, or in original Scream, I just rely on another door, the closet door, to just jam into my my bedroom door on occasion.
Yeah, why get a chair when the door could?
When I
block
have
the door, you know?
geometry.
Exactly. Yeah, if geometry's on your side,
I don't
you got
need
nothing
locks.
here.
I have geometry.
Yeah. We're going. We don't need locks. And also joining us today, how did he survive? Tyler Vidalis.
How do I survive?
Always asking how he survives these insane wounds. There's quite a few in this one. Where I think we'll talk about it, of course, but this might be the most unbelievable ones of the series. But I mean, I guess they all have them, but these ones where I was like, okay, how are you doing what you're doing right now?
Well, hang on. Well, we may be onto something here. So we're asking, how does Ty survive? Right? I feel like there's a few options in horror movies. He can take like character A route of just being like, that shit's fucked up. I'm leaving. Like the most realistic, what most realistic people would do. You could do like to Nathaniel's point of like the loop de loop and then the twist. Like, is Ty in on kind of the heist part? Is that why he survives? Or is he just like final girl energy and he's the lone survivor?
I definitely has some final girl energy to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. You know, I like final girl energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
What
like
would you do if you
I would
found-
be in the end game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about this already.
I feel
Maybe
like
for a previous Scream, we talked about who would die when.
That sounds right, Adam. I think we
Yeah, like what horror tropes would we fit into? And I think we did agree that. Do we? No, wait. I think we might have agreed that Tyler was going to be the overconfident one, or was that Nathaniel?
No, I said, I always said that I would die stupidly. That's just,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it's going to be, but it's going to be dumb. Like, it's going to be either I'm overconfident, like I forget to check the back seat, or just like I don't act quick enough. Like I just, the pillars falling on me, and instead of like taking a step to the right, I try and outrun it the long way or something stupid. I'll tell you what I won't do though. I won't be the guy that gets bit by the zombie and then waits
hides it
like
from everybody.
Yeah. That's just that is probably my least favorite trope of like
For sure.
any like zombie movie at this point. Like it has been done to death at this point. Speaking of which, spoiler alert, is that in The Last of Us there, Adam?
I will not say anything.
Yeah. Well, we can all
It's
agree.
not.
Fuck that
You know
movie.
what? You know what? Here's what I'll say about that, Nathaniel. It is kind of done, but it's not as over. It's like actually somewhat new in how they do it,
You're
and
saying they're
you'll kind of see
subverting
what I'm
they're
not saying it.
subverting the
I'm not
trope.
saying it's excusable, but it's. I mean, it's also and it's also in the game. Same thing
Sure,
happens
sure,
in the
sure,
game,
sure.
but it's not. It's not how it's typically done, is what I would say.
All right, fair enough.
As far as the yeah, I'll leave it there. But yeah, it's kind of there. I'm not gonna lie,
Well, who else
but it
is
doesn't
with
bother
us
me.
on the podcast?
Rounding out the squadron, of course, is big franchise BlakeHolder.
Hey, I like the name. I like the name. Man.
Yeah, you big franchise guy.
For Scream, yeah. At this point, I would argue this is probably the best horror franchise we got right now.
Ooh, big call.
That is a big call.
Yeah. I mean, let's
shit,
chat it out then, fellas. What are we thinking is better than this right now?
Well,
Conjuring
Halloween, I feel
butchered itself.
yeah, I was gonna say
literally and
Halloween would be the
figuratively.
only other big horror franchise kind of active right now. Yeah,
I'd say
So-
you got your Conjuring.
Yeah, so you do have the Conjuring
Conjuring. Yeah,
universe.
Conjuring's still active.
I don't know, man. I think Scream's taking the Conjuring universe though.
I don't know if they make any money, but there's about
after the third installment of the Conjuring, probably yeah.
Yeah, see, I'd agree, Adam.
I don't know if they're
Would you say,
making any.
Nathaniel?
I don't know if they're making any money, but there's about 8 Paranormal Activities on Paramount Plus as well too.
That's
Yeah.
true. I haven't seen any of the Paranormal Activities. Should I get around to them?
Yeah,
You
maybe
the
first,
originals, yeah.
3 aren't too bad, but I don't know, man. As a whole, with Scream now having 6 of these films and like for the most part, all of them being like relatively pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, man. I think they're taking home the cake so far.
Is there any of them that are like bad? Like I saw,
Honestly?
we as I said before the podcast, I've only seen
Yeah.
1 through 1, 5, and 6. I haven't seen 2 through 4.
Honestly, dude, I would say I don't really think there's one that's bad, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Which is actually very impressive for the B6 films. I'd probably say the worst one. I've rewatched them all rather recently. I'd probably say the worst one might be the 5th one.
Okay.
Ooh, interesting.
So
Wait, really? We liked the
debatable.
5th one.
I did.
And
I
that's
like
the
them
worst
all.
one,
I'm just
okay.
saying. I think debatable that the 5th could be the worst.
Interesting. That
Give or
certainly
take.
piques.
Yeah,
Piques my
Nathaniel, what do you
interest, 'cause-
think? Do you think all of them are good, or what do you think's the
I
worst?
think the second one's probably the one that kind of suffers the most, and that it kind of just
Okay.
like leans into the maybe lazy sequel tropes, and it had a quick turnaround. I think the first one's 96. I think the second one's 97, and it was like 9 months in between them or something like that.
Jeez.
And I think in the past people would have said number 3 because the third one's really weird. It's
It is.
definitely
Yeah,
like
yeah, it is.
it's definitely like what is going on, but there's a plot element in it that has aged so well in hindsight that I think it's kind of it's a very interesting a movie, 20 years after it was made. So yeah, I think my pick would probably be number 2 at this point. But it's hard to pick. Like I refuse to look at these critically. I love them all. So
Yeah,
like
I'm with you, man. It's like splitting hairs trying to say
Yeah.
which one's the worst.
Yeah.
Tyler,
I
have
will
you seen them
to
all?
Check them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably fall under the umbrella of 3 is probably my least liked, but 2 and 3 are pretty close.
Yeah. So yeah, Adam, there it is. I'd say give them all a watch. They're fun watches too.
Do you
when
have
can
them
watch
all
with
on
anybody.
Voodoo?
I do.
Okay. If I have access to them, that makes me more likely to watch them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with all that out of the way, I guess we can get into what we're watching here. I'll go to our go-to Nathaniel to kick us off. Nathaniel, what'd you watch this past week?
Ooh, well, seeing as we're talking about Scream,
Scream.
I watched Scream. I watched Scream 3, 4, and 5 this week.
Damn.
Yep.
Why not? Why not just all 5? Why not go 1, 2?
I've
Why
seen
just
1 and
start 3?
2 quite a few times, and it was a busy week in general. And I literally started Scream 3 last week while we were recording the episode, and just kind of finished it out. And then I was like, well, I'll watch 4 and 5 before I see the new one. I definitely wanted to rewatch 5 too, because I actually hadn't seen 5 since the theaters, and it was better than I remembered it being. Yeah, I think there's a couple things maybe I'll talk about a little bit later when we kind of talk more about the new movie. But I think 5 does a little bit of a better job of keeping the spirit of the originals, quote unquote. But also kind of like treads a lot of the same ground that 4 did beforehand. And I think that's just because they both kind of like take a little bit of a look at the whole idea of a reboot sequel kind of thing a little bit as well too. So yeah. One thing I didn't talk about last week, I think that I didn't get to or didn't talk to, or at least don't remember to, was there's a new Demon Slayer movie out in theaters right now.
There's a movie?
Well, that's the thing, is
I knew
that
the
it's
second season had started, right?
well, it's the 3rd season. So there's a film in theaters right now that is the final 2 episodes of season 2, and then the first episode of season 3, which you can basically just go and watch in theaters, which I guess is like a big thing that they do in Japan for a large series like this. But after the success of the actual movie last time, they just kicked
Mugen
off.
Train.
Yeah, that one. They just kicked off this season 3 with like one of these guys. So we went and saw that in theaters, and it was pretty cool. The art and animation style, I think, with Demon Slayer is only getting better. And
Really?
yeah, there's like even
That's
like
so
in the opening episode, you can just see like there's like a kind of an opening scene with all of the demons and like the higher up demons getting together and like meeting to like talk through like the crisis and stuff. But that is happening in this kind of interdimensional mansion that they're all like standing in, and it's just super cool how it keeps shifting around them and everything, almost like an
That's
MC
really cool.
Escher painting kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, another anime that I've been watching a lot more of is Bungo Stray Dogs. Tyler, have you seen that?
No.
Okay. I talked about it a little bit on a while ago on the podcast, maybe like a month or so ago, but they're releasing a 4th season now. There's been 3 seasons ahead of time. But it is about a group of private detectives that exist in like a world where there are just people that also have superpowers, I guess, too. And they all, have kind of weird, unique, odd, different powers. But like all of them, and we've kind of discovered this in season 2, because I guess each one of the characters is based off an author. Like they have a very famous author's name, but because they're all Japanese, I have no idea who the authors are. And their superpowers are like slightly based off the author's books as well. And the way that we figured that out was the 2nd season, like the League of Villains is the American authors, and there's like an Edgar Allan Poe and like an F. Scott Fitzgerald and like a Herman Melville and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really interesting, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's well worth checking out. I think, Tyler, you would like it a lot. It's right up your alley. If you ever want to stop watching Naruto for, like half a second or anything.
Never.
Okay, cool. But yeah, worth checking out in my opinion. And then I actually got to hang out with Tyler and our other good friend Kendall recently, and we watched some stuff over at his place, but I'll let Tyler talk about that. And the only other thing I have written down here is not the Oscars, because I did not
watch the Oscars.
Did not watch the Oscars this year.
Pourquoi?
Good for you.
Well, one, I needed to go see Scream 6, And
Yes, fair.
2, it just kind of snuck up on me, to be honest with you. 3, I don't have a reliable way of doing it anymore without paying for it or hanging my antenna out my window, and that just felt like a lot of effort. So yeah, didn't watch the Oscars really, but got the
I
highlights.
did not watch them either. To be fair.
Yeah, caught the highlights. Happy for Brendan. Happy for all of the actor and actress
Ricky.
winners, really. Yeah. And, the movie that won Best Picture has a butt plug fight. So I'm all about that. So,
The Academy's catching up.
yeah, 2 thumbs way up. Yeah, that being said, Tyler, I'm going to kick it on over to you.
Naruto. No. I did get around to a little bit of Naruto, but I'm getting ready to wrap it up again. Not because I'm like getting sick of it, but because it's like actually coming to an end. Because I'm a psychopath. On top of that, and kind of going in the same vein as my my anime kind of venture. I know there have been some new episodes of some things that have come out. I will get around to Attack on Titan at some point, but I have re-entered into the My Hero Academia universe, and man, I missed it. It is just a super good.
Wait, where are you
well-rounded-
now, actually?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Well, like, what is happening in the timeline? Can you talk about it? Are you caught up, or are you, like, a season behind?
No, I'm still a ways back. Not
Okay.
like a huge ways. It's just basically it's a few episodes after this is where I'm at, but the last like major thing that happened is class A and B did their little fights to put people in the prison.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then you find out that Midoriya has a black whip.
Oh man, you got you got a ways to go
Yeah.
now. So
yeah, I got a little bit.
I'm
so
excited for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I waited. So yeah, I'm very excited to get back into that. So yeah, and obviously that'll be next for you guys because you don't have to listen to me talk about Naruto every week.
I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, I bet. And then like Nathaniel was saying, I did have Kendall over, and then I also had Nathaniel over, and we did a little drinking, a little hanging, and before Nathaniel got there, I did have some Naruto on just because I was kind of like doing laundry, like while Kendall like came in, so it was just kind of like on in the background. And he's like, "Yo," he's like, "I missed this." He's like, "I totally forgot like about all this stuff." And then we kind of got into the conversation of like how some animes are very comically driven and some are very serious and some have a pretty good mix. And we kind of got on that conversation. And obviously Nathaniel got in on that once he got here. And then before Nathaniel got here, Nathaniel caught the tail end of it, but we watched Superbad because we hadn't seen it in a long time, and like it's a fucking classic. So
Fucking classic. That movie is hilarious
it's so good.
every time I watch it.
We were both
Never
sitting
fail.
there and like quoting, and then like once Nathaniel got there, like we could just like already see the moments happening. But like it's just one of those movies that you don't watch religiously.
Yeah,
So when
yeah,
you
yeah,
do go back to it, you do see some stuff that you totally forgot about. And you're like, yo, that is funny as fuck.
for sure.
So
I
got to that.
assume, Adam, sorry to cut you out, Ty. I assume,
No,
Adam,
you're good.
you've seen Superbad, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I have not. No.
No. That's crazy. I mean, I guess you are like a little young in context, but I mean,
When that come out?
probably 2006, 7, something
Something
like
in
that.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just too young.
Man.
Oh,
All right,
Super
go
Bad
ahead, Ty.
is that's the superhero one, right?
No.
No, that's Kick-Ass.
Oh, that's Kick-Ass. Then yes, I have
Yeah.
seen Superbad. I got them confused. I have seen Superbad. That's the one with Jonah Hill, yeah,
Jonah Hill.
and
Yeah.
Emma
Yeah.
Stone.
Michael
Okay,
Cera.
yeah, I've definitely yeah. I have seen that a couple times.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
never mind. Yeah, sorry, I got that mixed up with Kick-Ass.
Very different movies, but
Yeah.
but sure.
Yeah.
And then what else did we? Oh, we got to some fights on Was that Saturday? You're muted. Can't hear you. Fucked. All fucked. It was Saturday though. But yeah, we got around to some fights. Nathaniel said that there were fights on, and I haven't watched pretty much any fight since I moved out and away from Nathaniel, just like he hasn't played video games. But yeah, it was good, man. We had a lot of fun. We were just chilling. It's always good to get Kendall in the house and just kind of chill. So I'm excited it was exciting to have them kind of over and just kind of chill, especially because Nathaniel and I don't obviously get to hang out too much anymore either. Especially, it's quite the difference from where we were at to seeing each other literally every day. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that was cool. And then just kind of like a little one that Leah wanted to get around to because I hadn't seen it, and she always gets like so jazzed up when she finds a movie that I haven't seen. And that was We Bought a Zoo with Matt
Oh
Damon.
my god, dude. That is one of the few movies to make me cry.
Yeah.
Like
It didn't make me cry.
actually bawl. I don't know what about it. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I do remember the one time I watching it, like couldn't contain myself.
Yeah, it's a cute movie for sure. I enjoyed myself quite a bit. I told Leah always asked for my ratings afterwards, and hers is more on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yours is on a scale of like 178 movies you guys have watched together.
Yeah. So I gave it
Yeah.
an 8.2. So, and then we can go to the next person here, but I believe Nathaniel said on the group meet that he needed to restart the Roadcaster,
Oh.
or he
Yeah,
he will have to.
All right. When was the last thing we heard?
I just got done doing what I
you gotta
watched.
finish
Yeah,
it.
so I can pass it off to Blake. What have you been
Alright,
watching?
cool. We love technical difficulties.
Yeah, so actually similar to Nathaniel, I think he shot me a text. It was maybe like Wednesday or something. Then he shot me a quote from the first Scream, I want to say, or one of the Screams, and he was like, "Man,
Yep.
these are awesome." So I kind of went back and dove into it. So I watched I watched 3, 4, 5. Similar to Nathaniel, I've seen 1 and 2 countless times. I didn't think I really needed to go rewatch those. 3, um, I rewatched last year, gearing up for 5, and that was probably the first time I watched that in like 6+ years. As well as 4, I did not get to 4 last year, so I rewatched 4 this past week too, first time in a while. And then 5, first time since theater. So yeah, overall though, not bad. I like them all. I think I'd still stand on 5th being my least favorite, but still very good. The 4th one's actually grown on me a ton since the first time I've watched it. The 4th one's awesome.
Yeah, I
The
do like
4th
the
one
fourth
may be
one.
the second best one.
It is really good.
Yeah.
When did that one come out?
2011.
2011. So yeah, that
Alright,
was the
so
first
a long
Scream.
time
I
ago.
saw that in theaters.
Gotcha.
That's my sophomore, junior year of high school. But yeah, so
Gotcha.
watch all 3 of those. Really fun to be back in that universe. Characters, the Ghostface entity person, kind of the Guess Who serial killer movies. All the references to horror genres, different horror tropes. Yeah, overall awesome. Got to all of those, and that's really it. Actually, no, and I did do one rewatch of Ex Machina. I don't know why, and I don't know how, but I needed something to
Did you end up?
watch, and then go ahead.
I was gonna ask. Did you end up buying that 4K Blu-ray? Remember it was on sale.
I did.
Yeah?
I did.
Good.
So I was like, I need something to watch. And I remember that movie's only like it's like 130 something.
Mm.
I was like, fuck it, man. I'm gonna watch Ex Machina. I don't know, man. Alex Garland's a genius. That movie is phenomenal. And even
Yeah,
watching it on second watch now, I'm watching it from the from the point of view of the AI. So it's really interesting, and like from that point, you get to see the AI is more so quizzing Caleb and kind of his questions, and
Yep.
she's taking note of his answers. Awesome movie. Yeah, I want to see more from Alex Garland as well. That made me want to go back and rewatch Men, but I couldn't find it anywhere, and I didn't want to pay for it. So we'll see if I find that on streaming. I might
Sworn
kind
I
of gear
saw
down
that
and do a second
streaming
watch.
somewhere. I can't remember where, But I was like, really? This is
Yeah.
on this streaming service? Like, go figure.
Yeah.
But I couldn't.
So yeah,
I couldn't figure it out.
I got to get back to that one. But yeah, that one, Ex Machina is awesome. Yeah, that's it. Outside of that, watching some basketball. Super busy with work.
March
But
Madness time,
Bears
baby.
wise, see, I don't watch a lot of college basketball.
Oh
I
yeah,
actually
you
was
remember
supposed.
you
Did
saying.
the tournament start today? I was supposed to make a fucking
No,
bracket for
I think
work.
it starts tomorrow or Thursday.
Okay, so I can still make this bracket, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I think it's
Okay.
Thursday. You don't have a ton of time. I started my bracket today as well.
Okay.
But I believe it
Yeah,
is coming up.
I got to do that. Hopefully, I can win some change. But yeah, I don't know. I don't watch a ton of college basketball. So we'll see. I was more so happy with the Bears situation in the NFL, fellas. We kind of talked about that briefly, but yeah,
Yeah.
being a football fan, being a Bears fan, this is the most optimistic I've been as a Bears fan probably my entire life.
Is that
Yeah.
serious, huh?
Yeah, man, they made some right moves.
Yeah,
Had the number
really good
one
moves,
pick.
man.
Quarterback is the most important position in football. They had the number one pick, so that usually goes to a quarterback. They traded that away for a lot of assets and draft capital.
Which
Got
is
it.
what everyone expected them to do, wanted them to do.
Right. That was pretty much the consensus of anybody was like, yeah, the Bears should trade that
Yeah.
pick and collect draft capital and players. And they actually did it.
Just
Which
makes
just
sense.
from being a Bears fan was like, it's kind of
Whoa.
surprising, right? You're like, oh, they definitely should do this, but they could very well just fucking take the number one pick and draft the best player.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but you like it's time for the Bears management team to come to the realization that you have above average quarterback currently, and you need to shut the
Right.
fuck up and just build your team around him.
Yep. Absolutely. Otherwise, people get disgruntled, right? You look at like the Lamar Jackson situation. Fuck, you look at right up the street and look at the Green Bay Packers and kind of like
Yeah.
how Aaron Rodgers is disgruntled with that. Where no matter how good your quarterback is, you got to try to build around him, and if not, then people eventually just walk off on you.
People aren't
So,
happy.
yeah, man. But
There's
yeah,
clearly a formula.
for sure. And that's all I got. And then I got to Scream 6. Went to the Friday premiere of it. Great crowd. By the way, how did everyone catch this? Obviously, they saw it in theaters. Did anyone have like a crowd when they went, or what?
No, I try to not see things with people.
Fair, yeah. Fair.
I just saw it today, actually.
Anybody in there?
There was two other groups. One behind me, group of like 4, and then one in front of me, another group of like 3 or 4. Couldn't really tell.
Okay.
It was dark. But yeah, like two or 3 groups. That was it.
Okay.
And it was like today was Tuesday. It was at a 5 o'clock showing. So like,
Right.
that's
As
pretty
expected for
typical.
a Tuesday.
Yeah, that's pretty typical of my screenings around that time there, or like in the middle of the week if I'm catching something on like a weekday.
Yeah.
Pretty typical.
We went on Sunday and it was moderately crowded. It was midway full.
Okay. Yeah, I went to a Friday showing with a friend of mine. We got there. I mean, the show was maybe 8:50
Mm-hmm.
or so, and honestly, that was probably the biggest crowd I've been in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, there were like people sitting in the front row.
Good.
So I could imagine that thing was about as close to full, which was a pretty cool viewing for a movie like this as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, for a horror-rated horror movie, like midway, mid-full crowd is
Yeah,
good deal on a Sunday.
for
And
sure.
as you say, they seem to have some staying power.
People like the
Yep.
Scream.
Adam.
Scream. Yes. What we're watching. I got caught up to The Last of Us, but I still haven't seen the finale. So I've seen 6, 7, 8. Haven't yet to watch the finale. Honestly, might watch that tonight after we are done recording here, because I might finally have some time to do so. Been a busy few days, but caught up with that. Episodes, what would have been 6 and 8 really good. Episode 7 kind of low tier, but that's not that disappointing considering every other episode has been at least really good, if not like incredible. So the fact that they had like one kind of, I would say almost it was kind of a miss. I'm not too worried about it. I don't think it affects really the quality of the show overall because I don't even think it's like that bad of an episode. It's just definitely like the worst one. It's the DLC from the game, so it's not even part of the main story. It's kind of like a side story that gives more context. It's a bit of a prequel kind of for Ellie, the main character. So it's a little bit of a backstory there. Just not a lot happens in the DLC. Or actually, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of gameplay, but translating that into the show is more difficult than it has been for the other episodes, I think. And like the other gameplay sequences that they've had it's just not as easily translatable for this portion of the game. Which is unfortunate, but I think they needed to include it, and I'm glad they did. It just wasn't all that great. But then episode 8 was incredible. Tyler, you're caught up, right?
I am not. I haven't watched season finale.
Have you watched episode 8 though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Episode 8 was freaking awesome. That was probably one of the episodes I was most looking forward to, just because like that's one of the most intense portions of the game. And they pulled it off really, really well. Also, a great cameo from Troy Baker in that episode, the voice of Joel. In the games, he makes his official cameo, or gets his official role. It's hardly even a cameo because it's kind of just him, and he's acting. He's a kind of a main character, so it's kind of a cameo, but it kind of like it's just an acting role. They gave him like a feature basically, and they've done it for most of the main cast of the game. I know for a fact the last episode has 2 voice actors from the games in it, and then earlier we saw a fourth. So cool that they're doing that. It's fun seeing all those voice actors kind of get their chance to act in the show and kind of keep their continuation going. In fact, Marlene, one of the main characters, is the same. Her voice actor in the game is the same actor on the show. They kept it the same actors both ways, actress, I guess, both ways, which I thought was really, really cool. And she's really, really good. And then I watched some more Drive to Survive.
Nice.
Excuse me, sorry. Some more Drive to Survive. I don't know what episode I'm on now. I think I'm like episode 6 or 7, something like that. It's still okay, just okay for me. It's still good. I still enjoy watching it, but it is just not as enjoyable as it once was.
Adam, your mic cut out.
Yeah, I don't know if I lost audio for Adam. It sounds like it's Adam.
Yeah, I believe it's Adam.
Fucking Adam.
I had you for a second and then lost you again.
No, we don't have him. So,
So
anyways, while
I fixed
he's
it.
doing that.
I
Oh,
fixed
there we go.
it, and then it muted itself.
That's all right.
Um,
We're back.
so
Yeah, all
anyway,
good. I was gonna fill it real quick.
but did you want to finish your Phil thought?
No, it wasn't that important. It was just that
Okay.
breadbasket page where they were ranking names by the letter A, and
Yeah.
Adam was the number
Oh
one pick.
yeah.
So I sent it
Yeah.
over.
Blake sent me that over the week, and I was, he sent it to me, and I saw the title of the draft. I was like, I know exactly what's about to happen. I'm really excited, and I did watch the whole thing just because I was like, yeah, that's right, motherfuckers, number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sending me that. I appreciate that. And then I sent you that Jaguar. That was pretty cool. Black
Yeah,
Jaguar.
for sure.
It looked like, yeah, I got the leopard print. Anyway, Drive to Survive's been good. I had this conversation with one Alex Golden Boy Mendez and some of his friends, but we were talking about Formula One while playing some Halo the other day, and it was kind of our debate of like, is it worth not watching the actual Formula One season and just waiting for Drive to Survive to be more entertaining, or do you get more entertainment out of watching the Formula One season as it happens and then getting to watch the Drive to Survive season knowing everything that happens already, and like what that trade-off is? And I was 100% still on board with watching the Formula One season, getting 23 races of entertainment and then an additional 10 episodes of entertainment on top of that, rather than just waiting all year for a 10 episode series. I don't think that's nearly worth it. I'd much rather kind of keep up with the seasons. I don't know if you guys feel the same, or at least I guess you guys obviously do, because you guys do keep up, right?
Yes.
See.
Yeah. I don't think it's worth. I don't think Drive to Survive is worth not watching the actual sport. I think it's way more entertaining. Now that I'm kind of, year and a half, 2 years deep on watching.
I think the sport is more entertaining for me for sure.
Yeah.
I like Drive to Survive, and like I said, it's a way for me to kind of introduce it to people.
100%.
And that's kind of what I use it for. So
Yeah, I will continue to, because I think the first couple seasons, I was thinking about this too. I was like, what if I like going back to watch the first 2 or 3 seasons again, the ones that like introduced me to to Formula One, like would I feel the same way about them? And I have no idea. I don't know. Like maybe the show got worse, maybe got better, and I just don't realize it. I don't know. But I was thinking it might be might be a fun little experiment to do. But anyway, that's pretty much all I watched this past week. I think that means we can get into the main review segment here, yeah?
run it.
Do
All
it.
right, Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how our review segment works?
What's that you say? You want to hear how a review, and you want to know how the review segment works?
Yes.
Oh, I could tell you it is broken down into 2 sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie's IMDb page, who wrote it, who directed it, who starred in it, all that good stuff. When it came out, we'll go over the IMDb summary, see how that feels to us. We'll try it on, we'll wear it out. And then we'll go around the squadron and see if we would recommend this movie. Has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. From then on, it'll be the spoiler section. I'll play the spoiler noise if you don't want to have it spoiled for you. We'll go into any big plot twists, big spoiler actions or anything like that, and our deeper thoughts on the movie itself. And if you don't want to have it spoiled for you, though, do come back at the end of the episode, because I'll play the spoiler noise again so you know it's safe. And we'll rank this movie up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast so far, ranked. With that being said, Adam, tell me about Scream 6 Scrix.
Scrix. I would love to. This is a new movie, of course, released this year, rated R, with a runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes, and an IMDb rating of 7.3 out of 10. Directed by Matt Bettini-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, one of the two. I don't know. I never know. I think Gillette, because there's no E on the end, but I could be wrong. Anyway, they directed, or Bettinelli directed the other Scream 5. Did go? Yeah, they both did. Okay, they both co-directed. Looks like Scream 5. Written by James Vanderbilt, Guy Busick, and Kevin Williamson. Starring, of course, Courtney Cox, Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Skeet Ulrich. What a great name. And Roger Jackson, of course, returns as the voice. And then Dermot Mulroney, I think is probably how it's pronounced. Jack Champion, and Josh Segarra. That's probably where I'm going to leave it off. Liana Liberata. There's a lot of people in this movie. Goddamn. There's more, and I honestly missed a couple of like somewhat key characters, but I think I'll leave it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The IMDb summary reads as follows. In the next installment, the survivors of the ghost face killings leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter in New York City. It's simple enough.
Yeah,
It's the 6th Scream movie. You kind of know what to expect. The movie itself knows what to expect of itself. And so all you kind of need to know is that it is just now set in New York. It's the same characters from Scream 5 for the most part. Plus some new ones, plus some old ones, as you can imagine. Yeah, decent summary. That's all you kind of need to know. I don't really want to go too much further in because, of course, it's a horror kind of mystery thriller. So saying more would be spoiling it. How are we feeling here, guys? Scream, as Blake has already kind of touted on the podcast, might be the best franchise out right now. Why do you say that, Blake?
I think just top to bottom, when you look at it, having 6 films, and for the most part, on an opinionated basis, you'd get the consensus that all of them are relatively pretty good. There's not really one that's a complete dud. Um, as well as, I mean, it just caters to like Scream has a weird place, right? It caters to like the ultimate horror fan,
Mhm.
from like me or Nathaniel, as well as just caters to anybody who's just new to the genre, because
Agreed.
it'll always like lay out the genre in each film just from the character that has uh, the straight meta character. Will just explain everything that's going on in the current like horror landscape of movies. They'll just feed it
Mhm.
to you the entire time.
Yeah.
Whereas if you like horror movies, that's awesome to see, and it's like laughing and joking. Where if you're kind of new to the scene, it just it's just basically an exposition dump. Excuse me. So yeah,
Right. Right.
overall, I like it. I like the sixth one. Like I said, this is probably within my top three of the six.
Okay.
So as well as real quick, I think you were going over the cast. I don't know if you mentioned it had Samara Weaving. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I don't believe I did.
Yeah. Which
Is that Kirby? Is that who that is?
No, that's
no, we'd have to wait to spoilers.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody who's seen Scream.
she's the cold open character at the start.
Right.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
There
Gotcha.
you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Who she's played in like numerous horror movies like Ready or Not.
Well, yeah, you say
Um,
that name, I just
she was
haven't
also in Snake
recognized it.
Eyes, funny enough. So she's been on the podcast before. Um,
Yeah, and Ready or Not is also directed by these two.
Now,
yeah,
now that
Radio
makes more
Silence.
sense. I wish I had that context for that cold open. It would have been much more
Yeah,
enjoyable in the moment. But you know what? I enjoy it more now because of that.
for sure. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah,
So
nonetheless, those are my kind of brief non-spoiler thoughts. Um, Man, I'll pass it. We'll go Nathaniel.
What up, folks? I'm not enough locks Nathaniel, and I'm here to say, Scream
how
6
many
is
locks do you
okay.
give this movie?
I give it 3.5 locks out of 6. I guess 5 makes better sense there, huh? But anyways, no, I think it's good. I do recommend it. I enjoy it in the series. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna need to rewatch it too to determine my final feelings on it. I already, I think, said earlier in this podcast, I do find it hard to be super critical of this series because, as Blake said, it's just it's a romp for me in general, and the first one is very near and dear to my heart
Right.
as a film fan. But yeah, it's fun to be back. I think not going into spoilers, and we could talk about it right from the start. Nev Campbell isn't in this movie. They make a pretty big,
Unfortunately,
pretty big
unfortunately.
thing with that. She's still a character in the universe. Sydney is still out there, but she did not come back for this one. So if you were holding out hope on that one, sorry.
I was.
Yeah. But I think everyone here, it does make a good transition to the new cast overall, which I think is at its baseline what was required of this movie, right? Like 5 is a kind of nice bridge, but this is that kind of first step into new Scream, if you want to call it that.
Requel Scream.
Requel Scream. Yeah. I would say this
Which I
one's
forgot this was the movie that coined that term, so I was very happy
Yeah,
that
very
they
quietly.
reused
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
for
they
sure.
reused it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's where we got that
uh,
from.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if they coined it, but it's at least where we picked it up from for sure.
Okay,
As
fair
a,
enough.
as
Yeah,
a,
yeah,
as a
I don't know.
use. But anyways,
That's probably a better way to say it. Yeah.
yeah, I think if you're familiar with Scream, you know kind of what you're in for. It's a little bit whodunit. It's a little bit meta commentary. It's a little bit good old fashioned slasher, and this scratches a lot of those itches. I think the story gets a little wonky towards the end, and a
Mhm.
little unwieldy. Doesn't quite nail the ending, but leaves us in an interesting place going forward. And I do hope that they make another one. And yeah, I'm a recommend. So I'll kick it over to Tyler.
Yeah, I think this is okay. Um, I wasn't I'm not the biggest fan of Scream. It's not that I don't think that they're good. It's just not, I think once you've seen one of these movies, you kind of seen them all.
Right.
And the first one is legendary for me. It's definitely up there as far as what this genre is capable of. But yeah, I basically watched this one to go see Jenna Ortega because she's a god
She's
right
great.
now.
For sure.
Um,
She is.
Other than that, I think the acting was pretty decent. I do like the location change. I think that adds a pretty cool new element to this genre. Um, and I think they did some pretty interesting things. But I think overall, I'm gonna probably have to go with a not recommend and just wait for this thing to
Really?
come in theaters. Or I mean, at home.
Mm.
I don't strictly from a theater kind of standpoint, I don't see the point in going to see this in theaters. Just wait for it to come out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I can't say I'm with you there on that one though. I am definitely a recommend for this movie. Really, really enjoyed my time with it. And honestly, like if you can catch a screening, it might be too late because it's not opening weekend, but I'm sure you could find a kind of a decently crowded screening. But if you could find one like Blake's, there's some good laughs in this movie. There are definitely some very good like scares and tense moments. I think it was just all around like, yeah, as you said, like this is the sixth Scream movie. All three of the ones I've
Oh, this is where we're pausing for station identification, folks. So if you want to stay with us here, you're listening to Smooth Jazz 99.9 KYOT, the Coyote.
well, welcome back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, so of the three Screams you've seen is where we
Of the
left
three
off.
Gotcha. Well, of the three Screams that I have seen, yes, they are all relatively the same. But they still kind of get you every time that you watch them, and I think there's something to be said for that. I still think they're enjoyable. They still kind of seem to come up with a new kind of way to trick people, and we can kind of get into what that is in this one. But I still think it's a good time. If you enjoyed other Screams, you will enjoy this one as well. I don't think this is anything where if you haven't seen the other Screams or if you haven't liked them in the past, or you're getting anything that's like new and unique that might change your opinion of the franchise. But I don't think that matters. I think most people would enjoy this film. And if this is kind of even the first Scream that you're watching and you're just going to go see a horror movie in the theaters with your friends or something, like this is still a good movie for that as well. Just a good movie all around. Acting, the cast is fantastic. Really enjoyed them. Yeah, just overall a really good time. Pretty pleased. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, for all of our non-spoiler thoughts.
Yeah.
The Ghostface, last non-spoiler thought. Ghostface
Of course.
is still cool. Ghostface
He
is sick and remains sick. And
Yeah.
for a guy that like all he has is kind of a weird hunting knife, he really makes it work.
It's a very versatile knife.
It's a multi-purpose thing, and it's always sharp. He's keeping it.
Yeah.
Keep taking care of it. I don't know where he gets them. There seems to be multiple. I don't know if they have a guy, but
There's a guy. There's definitely a guy.
there's definitely a guy. Do you think there's
yeah.
a certain Ghostface forge?
No, that's where all the knives in Fortune Fire go.
Oh, got it.
The Ghostface store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nathaniel, to your point of just the ghost face, the costume or the outfit being great. I mean, yeah, this is arguably the best Halloween costume of all time. It's top 5 for sure.
Higher
being
than
able to
Michael
put-
Myers from Halloween?
Oh man, I think so, dude. I've seen, because you got to think they had like the original one, then they had the ones with like the blood like ink that you could like squirt on it.
Yeah. But
You know what I mean?
there's
There
also
were a
like
lot of these going around.
I think for us that we also run into like we lived through the Scream phenomenon, and then we went right into the Scary Movie phenomenon, which really just takes the piss out of Scream the whole way.
For sure. But it
and-
also makes it larger.
You're not
Also
wrong.
Put the
You're
movie
not
on a
wrong.
larger scale.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a college level essay in there somewhere about the meta-ness of Scream then being filtered through the satire scary movie lens.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Did we
Yeah.
say recommend non-recommend spoilers? I'm a recommend.
Yeah, it's
Everyone's a
three
recommend.
three recommends and a one non-recommend from grumpy old Ty over there. But yeah, that'll be it for the non-spoiler segment. So if you've not seen Scream 6 and do not want to spoil it for you, go ahead and check the episode description where there's a timestamp I've left that you can jump to, which will take you to our ranking of the movie Hub upon our Entropy list. All right, spoiler time, Nathaniel.
Shit goes down.
Shit
Shit
goes
goes
down.
down.
I'm assuming you played the spoiler noise.
I certainly did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does, fellas. So I mean, to our point on Samara Weaving, right? She's that opening character, so you know she's gonna die.
Yeah.
I think that kill was actually done pretty well. I just love how
It
everything's
was.
meta. She's a assistant college professor
Yeah,
on
an
a
associate
course
professor.
about horror movies or something of
Yeah.
that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool, and you kind of see that, and it played into, you presume it's like some type of like online dating where she's like waiting at the bar to meet the guy or something like that.
Yeah.
Things that are just common in today's society, as well as for the first time that I can recall, you get a ghost face reveal and like the I don't know, but before the title card comes up.
Yeah, the cold open.
Yeah. So the cold open, yeah, you get a ghost face reveal where like usually like that's the killer in the film,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
like that was actually pretty cool. I thought I was surprised when that happened.
I was as well. I was like, oh, that's new
Mm-hmm.
and interesting. And then it turned back to, oh, it's not new and interesting. Whereas they kind of reset the killer. But still, it was kind of a good opening to like open with that, and at least you think your expectations might be getting subverted a little bit. And I mean, they are to a degree, but eventually it does go back.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a callback to Scream 4, where they have a similar opening, not quite to the same regard, but similar.
Yeah, there
where
is.
like
There
something
is. Yeah,
happens, and you're
yeah.
like, oh, I think that's the cold open to the movie. We're going to start it,
Right.
and then it's not. So
And then Stab
Yeah.
5 has time travel.
yeah. So cool. Yeah. What is anybody else? Spoiler thoughts. What are we thinking?
Yeah, we cover some ground in this one, don't we?
We
New
do.
new setting, new Ghostface. You know, I feel like the thing is always, you know, Ghostface is like now they're really vicious. You know, that tends to be like the thing. Knows they always have to step it up each time. But you know, I think I liked this Ghostface overall. I don't like. All right, here's a question: does it feel like a Scream movie to you? Because you know we no longer have Wes Craven at the helm of this thing. We don't have Nev Campbell in this one. We don't have David Arquette. We do have you know, Courtney Cox. I almost said Courtney Love. That would be a much different movie. We do have Courtney Cox. Do you know, Blake, having seen all the other ones, does it feel like a Scream movie to you?
Yeah. I would go on board and say, yeah, it does. And that's just off the strength that it's still holding that horror meta in the back.
Okay, fair
And I
enough.
think that's what makes like a Scream movie. So
Sure.
much between like just the meta character being aware, characters being aware of tropes, as well as just the kind of who done it
Sure.
aspect of a slasher. So overall, yeah, I would say yeah.
I
You
guess-
definitely miss Nev Campbell though. Without
Yeah.
a doubt. But they go away to address that immediately, where Courtney Cox character Gail Withers comes on screen and they're like, "Oh, where's Sydney?" And she's like, "Oh, her and I don't know, Mark or
Mark,
whatever.
yep.
I don't know. Yeah, is it Mark? Okay.
Mark, yep.
Yeah, they're like her and Mark or took the kids off somewhere safe, some shit like that. And like that was just the easy answer of like, okay, well, yep, she's not going to be in this film.
Right.
So
And
They
she
did a
just
quick
said she
address.
didn't want to be a part of the franchise anymore, right?
No, they didn't pay her enough.
yeah,
Okay.
usually what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. But yeah, so I agree. I like the New York setting. I like that we get kind of the it even falls into the kind of, the requel traps, and that we are now on the sequel of the requel. So like, Scream 2 takes place in college. The sequel to the requel would also take place in college, but now we move
Yeah.
locations as well too,
Mhm.
I like the little core 4. I like that little idea that they have going throughout here. I feel like this one is missing some of like the really like black humor kind of style, or dark humor, like the way that the other ones do. I feel like this one's a little bit more quippy rather than like the, um Ghostface, taking his time to get to someone or something like that, the way that the other ones do. Like they're funny, but
Mhm.
they're kind of funny in a way that's a little bit mean-spirited in some ways every now and then too, and it's kind of like, "Ah, you idiot, you didn't follow the rules, now you die." And
Yeah.
this
Yeah, I got
one
you. I got you.
isn't quite as much of that. It's more kind of like, well, smart aleck comment kind of thing. But
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Doesn't feel as smart about how it's kind of going about the
yeah, the jokes don't
reasons
feel
for characters' deaths.
the
Or
jokes
yeah,
don't feel written, they feel riffed on the day, if that makes
sure.
sense, as far as as that kind of thing goes. But anyways, um I think strong performances from Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, as kind of like the main two leads. I think
They really work as a good, older sister, younger sister duo.
yeah, I thought
Like
they
them
they did
together
a good
really
job
work.
with that.
Yeah.
As well too. We are into spoilers. So should we talk kind of plot twist, like what happens here overall?
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess before we dive into that, I just love how this universe, like everybody is somehow related to somebody else within the
Yep.
series,
yeah. At
and
this
that's just
point, it's
how they
definitely
keep the shit
this.
going forever.
Yeah.
um, yeah, go ahead. I just want to get that off my chest.
No. Yeah. So if I'm following along here, we've got our cast of characters at this point. Uh we've got obviously Sydney, who's not in it. Then we've got Gail. We've got
Right, you got
our
Sam,
Sam,
Tara.
who is Melissa Barrera, and then we have Tara, who's the younger sister, Jenna Ortega. They're off at
Yep.
college, along with Mace. Is it Mason? Chad and
Chad
Chad.
and Mindy. I think
Chad
it's
and
Mindy.
Mindy. Chad and Mindy.
Yeah.
They've come as long well as the survivors of the newest Woodsboro massacre, and they're trying to live their life, but Ghostface is back, and it turns out it is the parent of Richie, played by Dermot Mulrooney, the cop, and his other daughter and son have tried to trick the world into thinking that Sam has killed Richie,
Who is their
and
family member.
yep, along with that, and has now snapped and started killing other people because and do they want to reveal that she is Billy's daughter? Or does the world know that
Yes.
she's Billy's daughter? Okay. They want to reveal that and like use the previous Ghostface collection, which he has assembled for Richie, as like their calling card.
Yeah, that was a little extreme. I would agree
Yeah,
with you for
it got a little
sure.
out there.
Yeah, when the reveals
Like
that
again,
they
I
were
don't hate it.
Richie, who is the killer in the fifth one's family, I was like, well, yeah, that's didn't see it coming, but that's definitely a Scream thing of my point. Like everyone's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
somehow
Yeah.
related to everybody in this universe. Um, but yeah, not my favorite reveal. With that though, right? So there is a twist on that with in this one being three killers, right? Or
Yes.
being
Yep.
three Ghostface,
Yep.
Yeah,
which
that's what I was gonna say.
kind of hard to pinpoint, right? I'm sure you can get somebody out there to say, "Hey, I figured there would be three, or I figured there would be four." Um,
Hmm.
but to the who done it part, I mean, is that what all did you think on that aspect? I mean, who did you think they were going for, or who did you think the Ghostface killer would be,
I'll let
Uh,
Adam and
or
Tyler answer because I've
S
talked a lot.
killers
I definitely knew Ethan, the dude, was one of them.
for sure?
I didn't expect them to kill off Quinn and bring her back, so I was like, okay, interesting. and then they kept doing the thing with the neighbor where they like immediately from the first time that they like start making out in the lobby, they like
Mhm.
the way they shot him and the way they like put the music on around him, they were like telling you, "Ooh, be scared of this guy," and so I knew immediately it wasn't him.
Yeah.
So I kind of just knew it was Ethan plus one, and I just didn't know who the plus one was, and they don't give any backstory on Ethan or Quinn really, so you can't really guess that it's them. So that is my answer. I kind of knew, but kind of didn't. I knew one of them.
Yeah.
I was not expecting a 3-person Ghostface though. That was a good twist. Keep the expectations on your toes.
Fair.
I was suspecting of Dermot Mulroney just because he kind of felt like he was acting in like a different movie than everyone else. He just felt a little off the whole time in some way. But no, overall I didn't pick the nerdy roommate just because he's the one that to me felt too obviously set up as well too.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I did not realize until we left the movie or after I got home from the movie. We have seen that actor before. In fact, very recently, he is also the dread-headed spider from Avatar 2, The Way of Water.
Oh,
Which
Oh, that is. I didn't.
God.
I'm
That's
looking at. I'm
hilarious.
watching the movie. I'm like, this guy looks so fucking familiar, but I don't know if he
Oh
just has
my
like one of the like
God.
the
right,
generic NPC character faces.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Or have actually seen him in something.
Which
Sure
he
enough.
yeah, they actually filmed Avatar 2 obviously like 3 years ago, so he's like 15 in that movie and like 18
Yeah,
in this one.
He's already so much older. Wow.
that's
That's
Yeah.
wild.
funny. Yeah, I didn't piece that together, man.
That's incredible.
But yeah, it's I thought he was a a good addition. I thought like I said earlier, I thought the core four were pretty good as well. Too. Was that the one you were talking about, Adam, where Chad just gets stabbed like 20 times and then it's just there at the end?
Yeah, that was the biggest one.
Where
I was
you're
just
just like,
all right, guys, like let's be real. His lungs have been punctured
Yeah.
in multiple places.
But
It's
you
just
got to think though that happened to him in the fifth one as well, right?
yeah,
Doesn't
he did
get
get stabbed in
outside
the fifth
party?
one. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and then he just like somehow miraculously like
That's the same thing with
before the credits roll, just been put into an ambulance, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
anyone that has been in multiple of these movies. Like the 6-inch band of skin on either side of their belly button must just be entirely scar tissue because everyone gets stabbed in either the shoulder or the kind of lower
Mhm.
quadrant of the belly button or of the belly. Probably on an average, I would say 3 to 4 times if you're in multiple of these movies at this point.
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think you're too far off. Impressive. Impressive that they can survive, to say the least. I'm gonna ask you guys this, but of course, we got to do favorites, favorite like scares or scenes, and
Mhm.
immediately while I'm watching the movie, the train sequence was actually I thought really well done.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
It's shot
On the
well.
subway.
yeah. On
Yeah.
the subway.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'll you go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was just gonna. That was kind of where it ended. I just really enjoyed it. I thought the way they did the lighting, and the way that you could kind of like you could still see Ghostface when the lights were off, kind of. And then they'd give you like more concrete looks at him with the lights flashing. Yeah, and then of course they set it up perfectly with like, oh, there's a lot of Ghostface masks around, which we've seen in previous Screams where there's more than one, like because it's just a kind of a character. Um, where you kind of see multiple Ghostface, and you definitely know one of them is real. It's just a matter of like you also don't know which one, just like the characters. I don't know. I just thought that whole scene was really really tense. They do a good job building tension. It pays off really well. Enjoyed it quite a lot.
Good to see Hayden Panettiere again. Oh, Tyler, you go now as well too. What were your thoughts there?
I was just gonna, since we were talking about like favorite scenes, my favorite one was probably the convenience store. It was
That was also
Thank
good.
you.
very suspenseful, and I got a really good a really good Jurassic Park Velociraptor kitchen vibes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, bet this is pretty dope. So yeah, that was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, I'm with Tyler on that one too. That's my favorite scene as well. Um, where Sam and Tara they're kind of running from Ghostface, right? They run into the bodega. We'll use that term because they're in New York, and like you're thinking, like, okay, they'll probably be safe, right? And then he just walks in there and just like guts 3 people immediately, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a little brutal.
Yep.
So yeah, that was cool, as well as seeing him pick up and use a shotgun, which to my knowledge is also the first time
Yeah.
we've seen Ghostface use a gun while bearing the mask.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I gotta shout out the apartment ladder cross scene as a fave for me. I think when I was talking about kind of like that dark humor in the movies earlier, that's probably the kill that I think of that gets like as close to that, where he
Definitely,
elects at that point not to just stab the third character crossing the ladder, but to kind of bounce it up and down until they fall off, and then crack their head on a what is that, a dumpster on the way down.
Dumpster.
Yeah, that's just I thought that was a particularly little brutal thing. I like that this film also posits that what you really need is just a weird like greasy, skinny but good-hearted neighbor to just solve all your ills, and a good New York
Yeah.
buddy for you to be
Yeah.
around. Like, he's so chill, but also like, what are you doing during the day, sir? What is your life like? Do you do anything
Yeah.
beyond just show up at random
No,
places?
he's just the neighbor across the street
Right, I
or
guess
across
so.
the alley, right? I mean, yeah, but to your point too, I love that kill where Ghostface shakes the ladder, and
Yeah, it's a great scene.
I forgot her name, falls off.
Uh,
What was also even kind of comedic too when you're talking about the humor is the fact that he had like a fucking 20-foot ladder
I
in
was
his
just
room
gonna say
readily
that.
available.
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
was also pretty funny too. He's like,
I was
wait,
just,
hang on,
and they
one
never
second.
explained that too. I was hoping they would address it as like in the way that they do,
I
and
would
they just
assume
never addressed the fact that he has got a ladder in his apartment.
it was like
that
the
was
fire
funny.
escape ladder. Like that's his, because like they're
I was
in
gonna
a
say
little,
that it makes sense for that, especially in New York.
yeah, because where they're like they're
Yeah.
in the little courtyard basically, and he doesn't have a direct
Uh-huh.
way out. Like he can just hang it out his window and hop down, kind of like that way.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I can get behind that. I just wish they would have addressed it maybe.
If I'm gonna no
Yeah.
prize this,
For
Yeah,
sure.
but again,
But
it's a Scream movie. That's the least of my concerns is where he got the
right,
ladder
right.
from.
I'm with you. What I actually like more on that is that's a callback to, I think it's the fourth Scream, where they're watching. I forgot whose character it is. I think it's actually Emma Roberts' character. I forgot her name. Um, she's watching somebody like
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
they're in
yeah,
houses, and she's like watching the girl get killed like
yeah,
across the street
yeah,
the
yeah,
same way.
yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah, so like that was a pretty cool callback to that. I was like, okay, I see what they're doing with that.
Yeah, I
With
did
that
love
kind of
that
shot and
where he looks in and sees Ghostface. He's like, "You," kind of like
Yeah.
from across the way. I did enjoy that bit.
Good scene for sure. There's
Yeah.
like I feel like the horror in this film is actually pretty good. Whereas I feel like maybe especially in Scream 5, I don't remember it being all that tense a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Again, I would have to rewatch it because I haven't seen it since our initial watch, but um, I don't remember it being as scary as this one. I feel like they still do a good job of getting you the horror aspect of the film, whereas like the other ones, I don't think, or at least the fifth one especially, isn't quite the same.
Yeah, I think the last two, being directed by Radio Silence, they're definitely more gruesome than the original four,
Hmm.
just in terms of like the killings, the amount of time people are stabbed. Like the
Sure.
other one, people are usually stabbed like 1 or 2 times, and especially in this one, the sixth one. I mean, there's times where, um, I don't know, people are getting stabbed probably like 10 times. Like you actually see it all 10 times in a row. Uh,
Hmm.
so that's a little gruesome. But yeah, overall though, man, I actually do like it. There's a lot of homages and callbacks to other Screams, like I mentioned. Um, the weird neighbor seeing Ghostface across the room or across the hall or across the alley, I guess is the word I'm looking for. As well as like in this one, the characters like I think it's Mindy who's the meta character. She's basically acknowledging like, well, like technically we're in a sequel from like the events that happened in the fifth one,
Right,
which is
right.
like really cool to see because that's what happens like in the second Scream 2, where Randy's basically like, well, now we're in a sequel to what happened to us originally. So like there's new rules. So there's a few callbacks to stuff like that.
Missed those as well. Definitely have to go back and maybe just give all these a run through. Like
I've
just
heard that
some
this
point.
gets better on the second watch.
This film.
I do want to
Yeah.
I want to I'll tell you
But
what, I want to rewatch it specifically for the train scene, which I think was Adam's favorite scene.
yeah,
Because in that I was so fascinated. It was shot well, but I was so fascinated that it was taking place on Halloween, and I was just looking at all the other costumes in the alley. So like you saw like Michael Myers, you saw like the
yeah. I
wolf
see
mask
Michael
from
Myers.
Creep.
Yeah,
If anybody's seen Creep, I'm sure Nathaniel
Yep.
has. But you
Absolutely.
see somebody with the wolf mask from Creep. You see the two twin girls from The Shining, like in the matching
Yeah.
blue dresses. You see so many cool
The
things. And like I
Babadook.
want to rewatch that. I probably missed fucking 10 more.
There's
Um,
I saw the Babadook in there, and then also
Yep.
the
Yep.
bride
Recall, I saw that one too.
character from Ready or Not is also there, and like at the very start when they're going down the subway steps.
Oh yeah, yeah, with Samara Weaving in there.
Yeah,
Funny
it's
enough.
not played by
Yeah.
Samara Weaving, but like yeah, her character
I
is
gotcha.
there. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, do we have any big thoughts here we want to get out of the way?
Um.
I would like
No.
to. I would like for it to go on record. I don't think this is a bad movie. It's just one of those
yes,
ones.
yes.
I think
Yeah.
that can
Can
can wait. Yeah, yeah. You don't
think
have to
that's pretty
rush out
fair.
the theaters to get this.
Oh, I had
think that's pretty fair.
a final thought as well too. Is that I'm excited to see Hayden Panettiere back, and
For sure.
it was cool to have the character of Kirby back because she's a great character in Scream 4. But I don't know why they tried to like dress her like she was like a mom of 3, and like
Yeah, she's like, I'm 30, and I'm like, really?
yeah. I feel like I don't
You
know
know?
what was going on there, but it wasn't matching up correctly.
Yeah, it was a weird, disjointed effort to kind of get her where she got. I don't know.
But I think that might be part of the timeline thing that they need for these movies as well too, to try and match those up as well as they can. Where it, like, I think chronologically in the movies it's taken place over like 20 years, but obviously it's been a little bit different in real time.
Yeah, could be.
But anywho, I'm ready to rank this bad boy.
Are ya?
Y'all.
Well, I am as well. So let's go ahead and do so. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and rank Scream 6 up upon our Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is our big list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastical list. This is essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. The reference, if you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description. Let's see.
I was talking to Blake about this during the week because I was curious. Is this the first direct sequel we've done, like barring like a Marvel movie where it's like a somewhat sequel or something like that, where the first movie has come out, we reviewed it on the podcast, and now the second movie in the
Halloween.
Halloween. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been the other
Halloween
one.
Kills and Halloween Ends, I would say, would be the other ones. Trying to think, there might be another one.
I didn't think that.
I mean, the new Fast and Furious, we're about to double up on those being new.
Do we though? Do we have to?
No. We really don't. I
But
promise.
you're pretty close. I don't think that might be the only other one is Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was curious about.
Me and Nathaniel didn't even think of Halloween.
Yeah, I was curious about going back and like re-listening to what we said about Scream 5, obviously, because we could. But then I
Mhm.
didn't. So anyways, where are we ranking this one, guys?
It's a great question. I marked it as episode 6 instead of episode 139, like it should be.
So Scream
94.
5 is 81. Tyler's coming in at 94. That's above Men, below Blind Spotting.
Yep.
Or no, that's above Blind Spotting, below Straight Outta Compton. Yeah,
Um,
I see Blind Spotting at 94.
94. Yeah. Yeah. So below Straight Outta Compton.
Yes, and above Blind Spotting.
Yep.
All right. That's not egregious.
Yeah, thought process behind it is Descent. I mean, come on.
I know, dude.
I do think that this is better than Men by a fucking mile. I would watch this over Men any day of the week. But yeah, there's some other ones that are down there, but I think that's kind of a pretty good breaking point for whatever my thought process is. So 94.
Yeah, I
I'm
think.
gonna go.
Go ahead, Adam.
You go ahead, Nathaniel.
Nope, I said you go ahead first.
All right, fine. I'm not too far off. I'm a little bit higher. I'm gonna go 91, above Tenet and below The Notebook. You guys like The Descent a lot more than I do. I think it's good, and honestly, it's probably better than this film. But I enjoy. Maybe I don't want to do 91. Tenet's like, I gotta rewatch it. There's some redeemable things about Tenet. I just know I like this more than Straight Outta Compton, so I'm at least 93. I'll do 93. I'm gonna do that 93 because The Descent's actually pretty good. I'm not gonna smudge it like that. We'll
Pretty
do
good.
93.
Sounds awesome.
Again, you guys think it's better than I think it is, but
Yeah.
to each their own.
Oh shit. I don't know, fellas. This is actually tough, dude. I like it more than Scream 5, and that's at 81. But then The Descent's at 92, and it just like skews my heart. But then kind of looking at other things, then I see X at 73. And honestly, I may like this more than X. So that's what kind of throws me for a loophole. But then I see how Kills, right? The Conjuring 2. And honestly, ultimately, I like it more than The Conjuring 2. Liking it more than Strangers is a toss up, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go 78. I think so that way it covers Scream 5. It covers The Conjuring 2. Then it falls under The Strangers and Halloween 2018, which I think I'm okay with.
But above Frozen, Ty, how we feeling?
Above Frozen, yes.
No shot.
All right, so 78, you said?
Yeah.
All right, locked in. 78. Nathaniel, bring us home.
My big question is, do I like this more than Scream 5?
Well, do you like this more
Just
than
let your
Scream
heart
5?
talk, man.
Yeah, I don't know, and I feel like I'm also, it's an opinion. My opinion may change too. I think I'm gonna.
That's not allowed.
I think I'm gonna put this at 84. Below No Time to Die, above Eternals.
Yeah.
Also
Man,
good.
Eternals being at 84, guys. Disgusting.
Yep. I would
Now
agree
that
with
I think
that.
of that out loud, yeah.
I would agree with that. Not much more to be said there. We gotta make some adjustments. But all right. You said 84. Well, gentlemen, that gives us an average rating of 87.25, meaning we're going to have to put it above or below Independence Day. I am in favor of putting it above. Don't know about you guys.
Absolutely above.
Above?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If
Nathaniel?
if everyone's gonna do it, I'm okay.
I
with it.
will agree.
Yeah.
Yup.
Well, we'll put it there then at 87, above Independence Day, and below. What is it below? The Rock. Good spot for The Rock. I think it's a good spot. That's pretty solid. It's above Insidious, which I think is actually criminal. That's also fallen really, really low. But we move on. Speaking of moving on, next week's review. 65. It's not only Tyler's age; it is the movie we're going to be reviewing next week. Sorry. I had to get a boomer dig in really
Why the
quick.
fuck would he say that?
That was a little uncalled for.
Came out of nowhere. Uncalled for ricochet.
That was actually pretty
I
funny.
was just
'cause it
making
was
sure you guys were still
completely
paying
uncalled for.
attention.
From the
Yeah,
clouds.
it was uncalled for. It was undeserved, but it still came. And anyway, 65. The Adam Driver led dinosaur apocalypse movie flake. I don't know, who knows, action movie. I don't really know what to call it. It's like Oblivion with Adam Driver and dinosaurs. That's
Hyped.
yeah. Looks good. I think I'd actually much rather see this than Shazam, Fury of the Gods, which was the other movie coming out this weekend we could have reviewed. I'm glad we picked this one. This seems much more
without
fun.
a doubt.
Yeah. That movie does not look great, and I do not have confidence in it performing well. But prove me wrong. Anyway, yeah, check out 65 and join us for a review of that next week. Nathaniel, do we have a 5-star review?
We have exhausted our 5-star review stockpile, so we are in need of new 5-star reviews, folks.
That is a shame.
Get them in.
Yeah, please do get them in because we need more of those. What do they get if they leave a 5-star review, Nathaniel?
If you give us a 5-star review, we will read it out here on the podcast for you. It can be mean, it can be funny, it can be nice, it can be cool. Just don't be evil. And you could have me read out your review here live on the podcast just for you.
Did you say live?
Yeah, at least at the time of recording.
Say it's live for us.
Yeah, it is live for us.
It was live.
All right. Well, if you don't want to leave a 5-star review, you can also send us an email at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com with any of your thoughts, comments, concerns, grievances, anything like that. We'll hear them at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Also, share the podcast. Share the podcast. That's what's next. Share with a friend, a family member, a serial killer dressed in a hood and a mask. Those I don't know what else. The core 4. I mean, you got a friend group. Share with them too. What else? Follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod. Those will be your best places to get updates on the show, and then also go subscribe to us on YouTube. We're just Back Row Banter over there. We'd appreciate your subscription, even if it's not your primary place of listening. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there, rating things out of 5 stars, putting some thoughts down when I please. I think I put thoughts down on Scream 6. If not, apologies. It's been a long week. Should go there and drop a review on it. That's all I got. We'll go popcorn time.
Twitch.tv/El Trabajo 87. We play video games sometimes, and we're very, very chill about it. So coming out. And then Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd are all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Nathaniel.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NS Gingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes, that's my other podcast. Adam, get us on out of here.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Aish24 and on Letterboxd at Aish. Think that'll do it here for episode 139. Dream 6. Join us next week for our review of 65. Nathaniel's age. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. We'll see you next week. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will be RB.
Thanks for stopping by, and we appreciate all your love, and just spread love, because you never know where somebody's at in their day or their journey, and we'll be RB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support as always. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if it wasn't for you. And as we always say, try to at least do one thing you thoroughly enjoy every day. That should make life a little bit easier on you. We'll be RB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
I wish there was a race this past weekend. Kind of annoying that there wasn't one.
We were talking about that
Kinda like-
recently.
Yeah, they kind of teased us with one
gotta
race.
pace yourself.
And then it's like, already a break.
Letterboxd.
I think it'd be better for them to do back-to-back weeks. I don't get why they would take a week off right away. I feel like it'd be better for viewership to have back-to-back weeks.
Well, part of it's also travel,
Yeah, of course.
but
then I don't know, rearrange the races ahead of time.
yeah. Well, if you ever get the chance to Google where how they travel, it'll actually show you their travel path, and it's
I'm
the
sure it's
dumbest.
insane.
It's the dumbest thing in the world, because they'll
Wait, efficiency wise,
they'll go across the world and then have to come back to where they just were in Spain, and then go back across the world and have to come back to somewhere that's relatively
funny.
close in Europe somewhere.
That's so dumb.
It's the worst.
They should just do tours. I feel like it'd be easier for everyone and save everyone a lot of money. All the teams. It's like an American tour.
Or they could just make teleportation a viable option.
They could do that. I don't know why.
How
they
much
haven't done that
sweeter
yet.
would life be though? In all
What's that?
honesty,
Oh man, what was
that's
that
gotta be one of
movie?
the best superpowers to have.
Forgotten movies that exist. Did any of you ever see Timeline?
No, it's not. It's
I'd
not
have
ringing a bell.
to. I'd have to see a trailer or something. I can't.
Bro, it
can't
is a
think of it off the top of my
movie
head.
that stars Paul Walker and Gerard Butler. It's from 2003.
It sounds like an early 2000s movie. if I
Yeah,
know one.
it's and Michael Sheen. It's directed by the guy that directed the original Superman, and it's based off a book written by the same guy that wrote Jurassic Park. But the premise is that
Interesting.
they find this wormhole, or they're trying to crack teleportation, but instead they find a wormhole, and the wormhole sends you back in time, but it only sends you to 17th century France, where England and France are in the 100 Years' War, and specifically coming up to this one battle. And so they go to and so the crew that discovered the wormhole or whatever finds a team of archaeologists, like a professor's class of archaeologists that are working at this particular castle in the present day, and sends them back in time to try to that castle in the 17th century for some particular reason. I can't remember why. There's some MacGuffin that they need to do or whatever.
Of
But
course.
the reason I thought of it is when you were talking about teleportation, the premise in the movie is when it sends you back in time, it breaks you down into lines of code, like a fax, and then it sends you through, and then it reassembles you on the other side. And over time, you can only do it so many times because eventually it starts to put you together slightly wrong, and then all your veins don't line up, and you just die of massive blood loss.
Sick.
and I thought of how much more entertaining F1 would be if there was just a 5% chance at any given time when the crews went through the teleporter that one of the drivers may just faint on the other side and not be coming back. Because that, if anything, F1's gotten too safe, and we really need to reintroduce more danger to it.
It's been
again.
a while since anyone got seriously injured. We gotta re-up the stakes.
Yeah, I mean, Zhou Guan Yu, like he flipped like 17 times, going like 200 miles an hour into that barrier at Silverstone, and he was fine. That's just unacceptable at this point.
That's just not. Yeah, exactly. That's not what I watch F1 for.
Right. At the end of each race, they should have one of those teleporters, and they should go through it at speed to the next to the
At
next
200 miles an hour,
and then have it set up on the other race course.
Dude, imagine this. It's F1, but there's teleporters on every course, and when you go through one, you don't know what course you're gonna get out on.
But you just have to keep going.
So so you were going 200 miles an hour into
Bahrain,
into a turn. Yeah, and then you hit a fucking you hit like a hairpin,
and you're in
like,
Monaco.
I don't know, Spa. Yeah, and then you're just into the wall.
Yeah, that'd be a real nightmare because not only would you be going different locations, you'd be going different time zones, so it would be different.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Different conditions and different day or night.
That's so funny. We got to make that a thing.